all around the world, our troops are what make this country great.
A question or two to you while you're, we're talking about Mark and how important it is to support our soldiers. T.A.P.S supports the families of the fallen.
Yeah, I know.
Why do you think that's important?
Well, it's important because we have to remember as Americans that it's our veteran service and sacrifice that gives us our freedom. 1989, I give the old 30 years ago. Doesn't that sound like how did that happen? Where did 30 years go? But in 1989, I wrote a song about a man I met at a bar in Huntington, West Virginia. Driving home that night, I said, I met a man named Sandy Kane. And I just started singing. When I write a song, the words and music just comes to me all at once. And back in them days, I had this primitive micro cassette recorder, and I'm driving this little Chevy S10 truck. And I just started singing. I knew a man called him Sandy Kane. Few folks even knew his name, but a hero, yes, was he. And driving down US 52 in southern Ohio, I wrote and sang the song Some Gave All. Little did I know that it would be 2 years later after that, 1991, after 10 years of being told no, I was about to quit. And my inner voice said, you can't quit, because Some Gave All is a special song. It's part of your purpose to thank our troops. And this voice said, go to Nashville and play Harold Shedd at Mercury Records, Some Gave All. And if he says no, then it's meant to be that you better go get a job at the railroad. If he says yes, then you're on your path to purpose. That's all I ever prayed for by buying a guitar and playing music. I always prayed that God would give me the wisdom and vision to sing the songs I'm supposed to be, sing the songs I'm supposed to sing, and be the person I'm supposed to be, and do the things I'm supposed to do. And I came to Nashville in 1990 and played Harold Shedd, Some Gave All. And after 10 years of being told no, he said yes. And on January 8th of 1991, I went into the music mill down here, and they were giving me a shot to record with my band. I wanted to use my band on the record, like a Springsteen, Nebraska kind of sound. I wanted to use my band, and we cut Some Gave All, and Some Gave All became the cornerstone of that album. And little did I know at that time I would hear one more song to add to the album called Don't Tell My Heart. Don't Tell My Heart was written by two-tour Vietnam veteran Don Von Tress. Don Von Tress at that time was a struggling songwriter that hadn't had any cuts. Well, here this guy from Kentucky meets this Vietnam veteran, and he comes to me and says, thank you for writing Some Gave All. And I said, thank you for writing Don't Tell My Heart. And then I said, hey, but did you ever think, the only thing about that song, I said, did you ever think maybe the name of it is Achy Breaky Heart? And Don Von Tress said, I don't care what you call it, just get them to put it out. And I mentioned to somebody, maybe Achy Breaky Heart should be the name, and everybody said, yeah, it should be Achy Breaky. And Don Von Tress ended up joining my band. We toured the country and the world for 10 years, Don Von Tress and I. He's my dear friend. We just made an album together called The Snake Doctor Circus. But the point being, Some Gave All is the cornerstone of who I am as a singer, songwriter, and as an entertainer. Bob Hope, one of the greatest patriots possibly in the history of America, Bob Hope had made his mission to thank our troops for their service and their sacrifice. And I learned a little bit of that off Bob Hope, and yet I drew from my own experience of the veterans that I knew. And as Some Gave All took off, then I heard from veterans not only all across America, but all around the world. And I've been with our troops in the sand of both Afghanistan and Iraq. I've stood at the banks of Pearl Harbor. All around the world, our troops are what make this country great. And it's the service and the sacrifice of the entire family. It's the mom, the dad, the men, the women, their children, their aunts, their uncles. It's a family. Look at Mark Plummer here with me. He has a wife, 2 very dear children. I know them well. It's their family that makes that commitment to our country. And with T.A.P.S, that's what really pulled at my heartstrings, saying, look, all these years they've been letting the families express their emotion, and most of all saying thank you for your service and your sacrifice that you made to this great nation. For that, we owe you our freedom. And that's why I'm here, you know. And I do believe that music heals. My very first tattoo, I'm all linked up to pieces now, and I'm not proud of it. I wish I didn't have any. But the very first tattoo I ever got is right here. I'll give you the old tattoo story now. I did the 30 years. Now here's my tattoo story. This tattoo says, music changes everything. And it really does. Again, I met Mark Plummer because Matt Sorum and Steve Stevens, 2 of the greatest rock and roll Hall of Famers of all time. They had found Mark Plummer, and they was doing a rock song and asked me would I join them, and that's how I met Mark. And I was just struck with his talent. I thought when I met him, I guess it was 2012, I thought he was like one of the greatest singer-songwriters that I'd seen come out of Oklahoma in a long time, because he had a realism about him. And I mean, it's 2019 now, and none of us are getting any younger. But I believe in Mark Plummer more now than I did in every single time I'm with him as a musician, I think this guy needs to be heard. He's got so much to give. And music does change everything. Music heals. That's what the project was for that Matt Sorum and Steve Stevens originally done. PTSD and the way that music can come into the hearts and minds and the spirits of our servicemen and women. It has the ability to heal. Music does change everything, and Mark Plummer is a great example for that. And the very fact that 22 men and women, servicemen and women, commit suicide a day, that number, that's just grossly out of proportion. There shouldn't be any, but that number of 22 is way too high. And any project that I see that could bring that number just down to 21, to 20, to 18, to 50, I want to see that number come down. I've done push-ups, I've sung songs, I've done everything I can do to bring awareness to that. I'm hoping this is the moment. If somewhere through this moment can bring that number of 22 down, that's the reason I bought a guitar and started a band. To say thank you to our troops, the men and women, the families. I did the Welcome Home TV show of Surprise Homecoming. I've seen firsthand the commitment that the family makes when their loved one serves our country, when they go overseas, and sometimes make the ultimate sacrifice.
I'm grateful for you.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you giving of your talent and your time to something this important, and that's what we're all here trying to do. Can I shake your hand?
Oh, you sure can.
Thank you, Billy.
All right,
I
you're
sure
welcome.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We'll get out of your hair.
I think they want me to sing again. Let me see what's going on
get
here.
in there.
Okay, let me see what's happening here.